Welcome back to another deep dive. Today we are cracking open a bottle of something very specific, very vintage, and frankly, very complex. We are traveling back to the mid-90s to look at a slice of television history that I think a lot of you listening probably remember fondly, but maybe haven't analyzed in a while. We are talking about Season 4 of the American sitcom, Frasier.
It is fantastic to be here, and you are absolutely right to call it complex because, well, when we look at the timeline, this season ran on NBC from September 1996 to May 1997.
Right.
And we are seeing a show that is hitting its absolute prime. I mean, it's not finding its feet anymore. It is sprinting.
Yeah, I was looking through the notes and all the source material you sent over. I have to admit, I got hit with a massive wave of nostalgia just reading through.
Oh, absolutely.
But there was this one detail right at the top of the production notes that I completely missed when I watched this back in the day. It's something about the opening credits.
Ah, yes, the visual shift. It's a small detail, but for television historians and, diehard fans, it's actually a pretty big landmark.
Really? How so?
Well, in the first 3 seasons, the title card, that jagged Frasier text over the Seattle skyline, it was different colors, like blue, orange, and so on. But in season 4, they switched it to purple, and it stayed purple.
Why does that matter, though? Is it just an aesthetic choice by the director?
It's branding. In the language of television production, when you stop experimenting with the look and you finally settle on a signature color, it signals confidence.
Ah, I see.
It basically says, we know exactly who we are, and that is exactly what season 4 represents. The writers knew the characters inside out, the actors had perfect chemistry, and they were ready to take some really big risks.
So our mission today is to unpack that confidence for you guys. We aren't just going to list what happened episode by episode. We need to look at the mechanics of the comedy, specifically the farce and the thematic arcs that define this specific season.
Right, like Niles' marital status and Martin's new romance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have a mountain of material here. We've got comprehensive episode summaries, cast lists, viewership data, award records. It's a lot. So let's just get right into it.
Let's do it.
I think we have to start with the premiere, right? Because looking at the summary for the two Mrs. Cranes, this feels like the writers just decided to go purely chaotic immediately.
It is the absolute definition of hitting the ground running. The Two Mrs. Cranes is widely considered a masterclass in sitcom writing, specifically a genre called bedroom farce.
Okay, hold on. I hear the word farce thrown around a lot when people talk about Frasier.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean in this specific context? How is it different from just a funny situation?
That is a great question. A farce is a specific type of comedy that relies on highly improbable situations, stereotyped characters, extravagant exaggeration, and sometimes violent horseplay. But in Frasier, it's usually about the lie. It's about the escalation of a lie. In a classic farce, you tell one lie to cover up a small problem, which then creates a bigger problem.
Which requires an even bigger lie.
Exactly, until the reality completely collapses in on everyone.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So let's look at the lie in this premiere. It starts with Daphne. She gets a call from an old fiancé named Clive.
Right. Clive is a guy she left back in England years ago. And the reason she left him is really important here. She thought he was a loser.
Right, no ambition.
No ambition, no drive whatsoever. She dumped him to find a better life. But now he's in Seattle and wants to stop by.
And Daphne, being Daphne, wants to let him down gently, but also prove to herself that she made the right choice. So she concocts this wild plan to pretend she's married. And she picks Niles to play the husband.
Which is the first major layer of the farce. Because psychologically, this is Niles' ultimate fantasy.
Oh, he is loving it.
You really have to watch David Hyde Pierce's face in this episode. He isn't just playing along, he is delighting in it. He gets to be the husband he wishes he actually was. He's affectionate, he's protective. It's a safe space for him to act out his deepest desires without any real-world consequences.
But then the math of the farce kicks in, right? Because Martin gets involved.
Exactly. The lie has to expand to include the other people in the room. Martin is Daphne's father-in-law in this fake scenario.
Yeah.
But Martin, being a bit of a chaotic element himself, decides he's bored with just being a retired cop. So when he's introduced to Clive, he totally improvises. He tells Clive he's a retired astronaut.
An astronaut. I laughed out loud reading that in the summary. It's so unnecessary.
That's the sheer brilliance of it. It's completely unnecessary, but it traps everyone else. Now, Frasier and Niles have to pretend their dad was an astronaut to keep Daphne's lie afloat. It raises the stakes. And then the door opens.
Enter Roz.
Enter Roz, the X Factor. She walks in, totally oblivious to what is happening. Clive asks who she is, and Martin, panicked and maybe enjoying the chaos just a little too much, introduces Roz as Frasier's wife.
So now the board is set. Niles is married to Daphne. Frasier's married to Roz. Martin's an astronaut. It's a complete house of cards. But the thing that really struck me is the twist with Clive.
Yes, the big reversal. Clive isn't a loser anymore. He is a wildly successful businessman. He's rich, he's charming, he's driven. He is literally everything Daphne wanted.
Which changes Daphne's motivation completely. She's not trying to get rid of him anymore. She's regretting everything.
And that turns the farce into a competition. Roz sees this eligible bachelor and decides she wants him. Daphne wants him. So you have two women aggressively flirting with a man while pretending to be married to the Crane brothers, who are also feuding with each other.
And poor Clive, he's just standing there watching this supposedly wealthy, sophisticated American family absolutely melt down in front of him.
To him, they look insane. Frasier is bickering with his quote-unquote wife, Roz. Niles is being incredibly possessive. The astronaut is drinking a Ballantine beer. By the climax, Clive is absolutely appalled.
Yeah, he just bolts.
He leaves, and his exit line really implies he thinks he is the lucky one for escaping them.
It really does set the tone for the season.
Yeah.
It essentially tells the audience, we are going to be high energy, and we are going to be messy. But underneath all that farce, there's always that genuine longing with Niles and Daphne. And looking at the season outline, season 4 really puts them through the ringer.
It certainly does. It's the season of so close, yet so far. The writers deliberately move away from just teasing the attraction and start exploring the real pain of it. There is a will they, won't they tension that becomes almost unbearable at times.
Let's talk about mixed doubles, because this episode, man, this one hurts to read about.
It's a comedy of errors, sure, but with a deeply tragic undercurrent. Daphne breaks up with her boyfriend, Joe. Niles sees this window of opportunity opening up. He thinks, this is it, I'm finally going to tell her.
He buys the flowers. He practices the whole speech.
And he arrives at the apartment, heart in hand, only to find that Daphne went to a singles bar the night before and met someone new, a man named Rodney.
And when we meet Rodney, describe this for the listener who hasn't seen it recently, because it is visually shocking.
Rodney is a clone. He is an absolute carbon copy of Niles. He dresses like Niles. He has the exact same mannerisms, the same fussy way of speaking. He even physically looks like him.
So the agonizing irony here is that Daphne actually is attracted to Niles's personality, just not Niles himself.
Precisely. And that is the knife in the heart for him. But the writers double down on the cruelty. Niles, in a fit of despair, goes to that exact same singles bar. And he meets a woman named Adele. And guess what?
She's a clone of Daphne.
She's English, she's working class, she's quirky. So you end up with this bizarre double date where Daphne is with Niles Light and Niles is with Daphne Light.
It's honestly so creepy when you think about it.
It is deeply psychological. In psychology, it's called displacement. They are acting out a relationship with each other using proxies. It's hilarious to watch, but it's also screaming at the audience that these two people belong together, but they are just too neurotic to admit it.
But there is a massive shadow hanging over Niles this whole time. The shadow of Maris. We never see her, but she controls his entire life. Season 4 feels like a major turning point for that, though.
It is the definitive turning point. We have the episode, Are You Being Served? This is where the rubber meets the road. Niles receives the actual divorce papers.
This is huge. For 3 straight seasons, he's been absolutely terrified of her.
He has, and the separation is becoming real. But the way the show handles this is brilliant. They don't just give us a sad, dramatic courtroom scene. They give us the rat journal.
Okay, I need you to walk me through this, because reading the summary, I was a little confused, and then I was just laughing. Frasier and Niles find their late mother's journal.
Yes. Hester Crane was a psychiatrist, but she was also a researcher. The boys are going through some things. They find her old journal, and they start reading it. They find entries labeled Niles, and the entries are just devastating.
It says things like he's cowed and dominated, right?
Yeah. Cowed, dominated, passive, easily led, submissive. Niles reads this and thinks his mother, this figure of absolute authority in his life, saw his future. He thinks she predicted his terrible relationship with Maris. He literally thinks, I am genetically programmed to be a doormat.
That has to be completely crushing.
It triggers a full-blown existential crisis.
Yeah.
But, and here's the sheer genius of the writing, that crisis actually leads to action. He gets angry. He decides, I will not be this person. So, in a heat of passion, he signs the divorce papers. He serves Maris. It's a massive moment of triumph.
And then the other shoe drops.
They keep reading, and they finally realize the context. Hester wasn't writing about her children at all. She was writing about her laboratory rats. One of the rats was named Niles.
So the cowed and dominated Niles was literally a rodent.
Just a rat in a cage.
That is the ultimate cosmic joke.
It is. It totally undercuts the heavy drama with this absurd punchline. But notice the outcome here. Niles did sign the papers. The misunderstanding was the catalyst he needed. It begs the philosophical question. Does it matter why we make a brave choice as long as we make it?
That's remarkably deep for a sitcom. It's like he needed a push, even if the push was based on a complete lie. But it's not smooth sailing from there. The finale, Ask Me No Questions, seems to undo a lot of this progress.
Ask Me No Questions is a frustrating, brilliant episode. Niles asks Frasier a direct question. Do you think Maris and I are meant to be together?
Which is an incredibly loaded question to ask your brother who openly hates your wife.
It's a total trap. Frasier knows the answer is no. But he also knows that Niles is a contrarian. If Frasier says no too aggressively, Niles might just defend her and go back to her. So Frasier spends the entire episode paralyzed. He pulls everyone.
Yeah.
He asks Roz, he asks Martin, he asks Daphne, he even asks Marta, the maid.
He's just desperate for validation so he doesn't ruin his brother's life.
Finally, he decides to just be honest. He goes to Niles' apartment to tell him, lovingly, that he deserves better than Maris. And he walks in to find Niles in a bathrobe. He's slept with her. He's back in the web.
Oh, no.
It's a cliffhanger that leaves you feeling hollow. It's the 2 steps back part of recovery. It reminds the viewer that breaking a toxic cycle isn't a straight line. It's a really messy spiral.
That is heavy.
Yeah.
But we can't talk about relationship dynamics in Season 4 without talking about the biggest grenade thrown into the Crane household. We absolutely have to talk about Sherry.
Sherry Dempsey, played by the wonderful Marsha Mason.
The source material describes her as loud, boisterous, and brash, and she plays the banjo.
The banjo is such a specific weapon choice by the writers. If you think about the soundscape of Frasier, it's classical piano, it's soft jazz, it's comfortable silence. Then in comes Sherry, strumming a banjo. It cuts right through their pretension.
She's Martin's new girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and she is basically the anti-Crane.
She is what literary critics call a foil.
Okay, there's another analytical term. Foil. Break that down for us.
A foil is a character who contrasts with another character, usually to highlight particular qualities of the other character. Think of it like holding a black piece of paper next to a white piece of paper. The white looks significantly whiter.
Right.
By placing Sherry, who is very working class, unfiltered, and loud, next to Frasier and Niles, the brothers seem even more snobbish and uptight than usual.
She forces them to confront their own snobbery.
Exactly. In the episode Dad Loves Sherry, the boys just whine. They try their hardest to pretend they like her for Martin's sake, but they're physically pained by her presence. She tells dirty jokes. She has absolutely no boundaries. She completely disrupts their sanctuary.
But it's not just the boys, right? Daphne usually gets along with everyone, but even she struggles with Sherry.
That's in Daphne Hates Sherry. This is a fascinating power dynamic. Daphne is the caretaker of the house. She controls the food, the medicine, the schedule. Sherry comes in and just starts undermining that. She feeds Martin junk food. She tells him to ignore his exercises.
She gets to be the fun girlfriend, and she makes Daphne look like the strict nurse.
It threatens Daphne's identity and her territory. It gets so bad that Daphne actually storms out. She goes to stay at Niles' place.
Which, again, puts those two in dangerous proximity.
The writers never miss a chance to throw Niles and Daphne together, but I do want to give credit to the writing of Sherry. She isn't a villain at all. She truly loves Martin. In 3 dates and a breakup, Martin actually ends things with her.
Why does he do that? I thought he was having a great time.
Guilt. This is the first time since his wife Hester died that he's felt real passion for someone. And he panics. He feels like he's betraying Hester's memory. It's a very grounded, very human moment amidst all the loud banjo playing.
And Frasier actually steps up here, doesn't he?
He does. Frasier realizes that despite how annoying Sherry is to him personally, she makes his dad happy. So Frasier brokers the peace. He convinces Martin to go back to her. It shows Frasier's growth. He actually values his father's happiness over his own comfort.
Speaking of Frasier's happiness, or lack thereof, while Niles is dealing with his divorce and Martin's his love, Frasier seems to be going through a bit of a midlife crisis in Season 4.
Midlife crisis is putting it mildly. He is totally adrift. He's 43, he's single, and he's feeling stagnant.
There's that episode, The Impossible Dream. Frasier has a recurring erotic dream about Gil Chesterton,
The food critic.
a man he doesn't even like.
And Frasier, being a strict Freudian, freaks out. He's analyzing it to death. He's wondering, am I repressed? Is this a sign?
It's so funny watching him squirm over it.
But the resolution is fascinating. He realizes the dream isn't about sex at all. It's about his brain needing a challenge. He's bored at work. His advice show has become too easy for him. His subconscious essentially created a problem, being attracted to Gilwan, just so his conscious mind would have a puzzle to solve.
That is incredibly convoluted and perfectly Frasier.
It highlights his intelligence, but also his deep loneliness. Which brings us to Odd Man Out.
Oh, this episode. I felt secondhand embarrassment and profound sadness watching this. It's Roz's birthday, and Frasier just assumes he can grab dinner with someone.
He assumes he's the center of the universe. But everyone has plans. Niles has a date, Martin has Sherry, Daphne has a date. Suddenly, Frasier is entirely alone.
The scene at the Italian restaurant. Describe that for us.
He's sitting there, dressed up, eating alone. The camera pulls back, and he is completely surrounded by couples, laughing, holding hands, sharing wine. He is an island of solitude. It's a beautiful but really sad image.
And that profound loneliness drives him to do something crazy.
He checks his answering machine. There's a message from a woman named Laura, who is played by Linda Hamilton, but it's a wrong number. She's leaving a message for someone else, saying she's flying into Seattle.
And Frasier thinks this is destiny.
He romanticizes the whole thing. He rushes to the airport. He's going to intercept this total stranger and sweep her off her feet. It's a classic rom-com setup.
But real life isn't a rom-com.
No, it isn't. He finds her. She's perfectly nice, but she's married. She's happy. She's just a woman who dialed a wrong number. Frasier is left standing at the airport, realizing that you just can't force magic to happen.
It's a recurring theme this season. Frasier trying to force things to happen, like in Liar. Liar, where he tries to fix a moral failing from his past.
The bully episode. This is cringe comedy at its absolute peak. The boys realize they got a bully expelled from prep school unfairly when they were kids, and they find out he's in prison now.
So they go to visit him.
Which is incredibly arrogant in itself, coming in with this attitude of, we are here to forgive you or be forgiven. But Frasier goes further. He tries to actively fix the bully's marriage. He goes to meet the wife.
And she hits on him.
Aggressively. It turns out the marital problems are complex, and Frasier's meddling just makes everything significantly worse. He tries to play God, and he ends up hiding in a bathroom while the wife tries to seduce him.
And then there's a Crane's critique. This one actually hurts my soul as a book lover. They meet T.H. Houghton.
The reclusive author, a J.D. Salinger-type figure, played brilliantly by Robert Prosky. The boys absolutely idolize him.
They manage to get their hands on his unpublished manuscript.
The holy grail of literature for them. They read it, they love it, they think it's a masterpiece.
So what goes wrong?
They can't just enjoy it, they have to critique it. They feel this need to sound smart. In their conversation with Houghton, they use so much academic jargon and point out so many subtle echoes of other works that they accidentally convinced Houghton the book is derivative.
They literally talk him out of publishing it.
He throws it in the fire. They destroy a masterpiece because they couldn't shut up and just appreciate it. It is the ultimate indictment of their character. Their intellect actively destroys beauty.
Oof. That is harsh. But valid. Let's shift gears to the workplace. KECL is the other main setting, and the dynamics there are really strong this season.
Specifically the rivalry. You have Love Bites Dog, where Roz sets Frasier up, but Bulldog steals the date.
Bulldog is such a great character. He's just pure id.
He is. And then you have Roz's turn. This is a very key episode for Roz. She wants to be an on-air host. She auditions. But Bebe Glazer, Frasier's agent, who's basically the devil incarnate, sabotages her.
Baby is terrifying.
She really is. She sabotages Roz because she knows Frasier needs a producer. It shows that the radio industry is incredibly cutthroat, and Roz is often the collateral damage of Frasier's success.
But when we talk about radio in season 4, there is one episode that stands above the rest. Maybe above the rest of the entire series. We have to talk about ham radio.
Ham radio. If you ask 10 Frasier fans for their top 5 episodes, this is on all 10 lists. It is a masterpiece of technical comedy.
So the setup is, it's KCL's 50th anniversary. Frasier decides to direct an old-timey radio murder mystery called Nightmare Inn.
And Frasier does what Frasier always does. He micromanages, he over-directs, he drives the actors absolutely crazy until one of them quits right before the live broadcast.
So he drags Niles in to fill the role.
And this is where we have to use the theater of the mind for a second. Imagine the scene. They are in the booth. The on-air light is red. Frasier is sweating. Niles is holding the script, completely terrified. He has to play multiple characters because they are short-staffed.
And he has to do accents.
But he hasn't rehearsed at all. So he's switching from a posh aristocrat to a gruff dwarf on the fly. There's a moment where he has to play a grocer, and he forgets the voice, so he does this incredibly high-pitched helium voice. Frasier looks at him with pure murder in his eyes.
And the sound effects guy is messing up too.
The timing is completely off. The doorbell rings too late. An ice cream truck song plays during a murder scene. It is pure chaos.
And because they're running out of time, Frasier starts cutting pages from the script live on air.
Which destroys the entire plot. The story stops making any sense. Niles is flipping pages, totally panicked, and the only way to end the scene on time is for Niles' character to just kill everyone.
Look out. He's got a gun. Pop.
And Niles, breathless, just popping a balloon or hitting a sound cue for every single character. He kills the maid, the duke, the grocer. It is a total slaughter.
And the silence afterwards.
Dead air. Just the heavy breathing of the cast. It is arguably the funniest 5 minutes of television ever produced. It works so well because it takes these high-status, pretentious characters and reduces them to sweating, panicked amateurs.
It's brilliant. And it really showcases the sheer physical comedy skills of David Hyde Pierce.
Absolutely.
Now, we've mentioned a few actors, but the guest list for season 4 was insane.
It was a huge flex. The show was so popular they could get anyone they wanted.
We had James Earl Jones.
The voice of God himself. He played Norman, a blind man in Roz's Krantz and Goldenstein Are Dead.
And Baby Newirth came back as Lilith.
Always a highlight. A Lilith Thanksgiving. It's basically Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. But funny. They go to the Marbury Academy to try and get their son Frederick admitted. They spend the whole holiday just sucking up to the headmaster.
Linda Hamilton, like we mentioned. Yeah. And Megan Mullally.
Before she was Karen on Will and Grace. She was a date in 4 for the Seesaw.
And we can't forget the callers. For listeners who don't know, the people calling into Frasier's radio show for advice were actual celebrities recording voiceovers.
It was the coolest cameo in Hollywood. You didn't even have to show up on set.
Looking at the list for season 4, Marv Albert, Bob Costas, Julius Erving.
The sports legends. That was for the Love Bites Dog episode, which was about sports radio. Perfect casting.
John Cusack, Patty Duke, Kieran Culkin.
It just shows the massive cultural footprint of the show. Everyone wanted to be a part of it.
So let's look at the numbers. We keep saying it was popular, but give us some actual context.
Okay. The season 4 premiere, The Two Mrs. Cranes, drew 21.7 million viewers.
21 million. It's just insane.
For context, a massive hit show today on streaming might get a few million over a whole month. Succession, which is a huge cultural phenomenon, was getting 2 or 3 million for live airings. Frasier was getting 20 million every Tuesday night.
It was a true monoculture event.
It was, and it stayed high. The finale got over 20 million as well, and the critics were right there with the audience.
You mentioned the Emmys in the notes.
Frasier won the Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Comedy Series for this season, but the context is even crazier. It won that award 5 years in a row, 1994 to 1998. Season 4 is right in the middle of that streak. It is the absolute peak of the dynasty.
So when we step back and look at this season, the purple title card, the bedroom farce, the rat journal, the banjo what is the ultimate takeaway? Why does this specific season matter so much?
I think season 4 is the sweet spot. The characters were fully formed, the writers knew exactly how to write for them, but they hadn't run out of ideas yet. They were willing to disrupt the status quo, like bringing in Sherry or finalizing the divorce, while keeping the core dynamics completely intact.
It balances the highbrow and the lowbrow perfectly. You have quotes from obscure literature in one scene, and Niles popping balloons to simulate a murder in the next.
And underneath it all, there's that recurring theme we saw with the journal. Are we actually in control?
That rat journal really stuck with me.
It asks the big question for you to mull over. How much of our life is free will? And how much is just conditioning? Are the Crane brothers sophisticated intellectuals shaping their own destiny? Or are they just rats running through a maze of social expectations?
And maybe that's exactly why we love them. Because even though they are massive snobs, they are trapped in the maze, just like the rest of us.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a trip. I'm definitely going to rewatch Ham Radio tonight.
I might join you. I need to hear that grocer accent again.
Thank you so much for breaking this down. And to our listeners, thanks for diving deep with us. Think about that maze next time you watch. We'll catch you on the next one.